Hello and thank you for joining us. I'm your host, Anna Clements, and this is Audiobooks with Anna, where we explore the fascinating world of audiobooks with industry experts. Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you are. Thank you very much for joining us here at Narrators Assemble. Hello, Christine. Welcome to the sofa. Thank you very much for
Hello.
joining me. Hi, how
Thanks
are
for having
you?
me. I am doing well. I am in the
Lovely.
middle of a house move, or not a house move, but a house buy and a
Oh,
house setup. Um,
congratulations. Having just done
thank
it
you.
myself last month, I cannot send enough good wishes your way for a safe journey and all those things with your new home. And I hope it's a home from home for you. Sounds like another a pied a terre in another space. Is that the plan?
Exactly. And it's really quiet out here, which is great. It's going to be great to record.
Fantastic. Every narrator's best wish. Lovely.
I know. There's only been like one helicopter in like an entire week. And coming from the LA area, there's a helicopter every 20 minutes going over. So it's a big
Oh,
switch.
well done. That's fantastic. Well done. Well, let me make an official start. Again, thank you very much to everybody who's joined us here today. We're here with Christine Mascott to talk about PANAcon, the Professional Audiobook Narrators Association conference. It's happening at the end of July, and we're hoping to ask Christine all the questions we want answered. So do feel free to come up and join us, put stuff in the chat, let us know what you're thinking, and let's find out everything we can. The link is at the top of the page if anybody wants to go and take a look at that to be able to follow along as we talk about what's actually happening. Do feel free to ask your questions and let us know your thoughts. Christine, give us an overview, if you would, of you and your sort of part within PANA and perhaps what PANA is before we get into the conference itself. And let's give everybody a bit of an overview and see if we can get some more people to join as well, which would always be lovely. Many members, though, you have.
We do. So PANA is the Professional Audiobook Narrators Association, and we are a nonprofit organization by narrators for narrators, and we are now over 700 strong. So that's huge. We've increased our membership over double in the last couple of years. So my background is I'm on the board of directors, and this is my third year. And it's my second year taking the lead on planning our annual conference, PanaCon. And I'm a narrator. I'm just closing in on my 100th book. I've got 95, so I'm hoping to reach 100 this year. And I'm an actor by profession and a vocalist and have been a performing artist my whole life. But when I did have a day job, one of the things that I did was I produced live entertainment. And part of what I produced were conferences. And so when PANA said a few years ago that they wanted to add a conference to their programming, I, realized that I could be of help in getting that going. So that's one of the reasons I joined the board. And last year we launched the first PanaCon, and this year we are doing our second. And the first one was really successful. We had over 155 people register, and then plus all our presenters and everything, over 200 people attended. So that's a pretty good first showing. We're hoping to do that again this year, and
Tell
we
tell
hope
me
all.
about tell me about how it works. So,
Sure.
organizing 200 people is a feat in and of itself. So it's an online conference, isn't it?
It is. So it's a virtual conference and it's on July 25th. And it's an entire day of like webinars and panels and really relevant, hopefully relevant programming to professional narrators. And it really should appeal to narrators of all levels. One of the things that we're concentrating on this year kind of heavily, because it's some feedback that we heard throughout the year from narrators, is we're focusing on social media and branding because we're hearing more and more that that is of real importance when it comes to casting and gaining followings and sales and all of that. So we are doing a deep dive for the first kind of half of the conference on a lot of those ideas and challenges, and hopefully and also kind of taking into consideration that, not all of us want to be big social media influencers. And how do you not let the social media take over, your day when you really want to focus on being a narrator. So it's kind of, we'll focus a little bit on maintaining that balance too.
That is an absolute minefield. The whole FOMO or imposter syndrome, or worrying about what you're seeing online and wondering whether or not you're, having to compete, etc. So I think that's a really interesting part of the conversation, is just reminding people of the reasons why we're here and why we're doing this and how much we love it, which I think is certainly what I got from PanaCon last year, was the feeling of, as always, community,
Yeah.
being able to be with other narrators regardless. Barbara mentioned in the chat how much she personally appreciates the online format. I think it's a really lovely way to be able to connect with other people without having to travel to another city, pay for a hotel, etc., etc.
Exactly.
So thank
We
you.
can
Yeah, yeah.
we considered, going every other year when we were first, coming up with the idea, or brainstorming the idea. It was like, well, do we want to stay virtual every year, or do we want to like go opposite APAC? When they're virtual, we are live. But when we really looked at it, it was so much more inclusive to keep it virtual, because so many more people can go, and traveling is cost prohibitive. Also today, traveling can be a very challenging experience. The last, couple of months, we've all seen like flights getting canceled left and right, and all of those challenges, and even like the prices of airfare is really going up. So keeping it virtual just really makes us all be able to join together. However, we do have an in-person element. The week before PanaCon, we call PanaCon week, and we have a whole bunch of other events that are kind of meant to lead up to the big day. And some of them come with your PanaCon ticket, and some of them are open to everybody. And one of the things that's open to everybody, Tuesday, July 21st, the Tuesday before the conference, we have declared to be International Narrator Meetup Day. And so we are doing meetups all over the place. We have so many cities signed up to do meetups right now. So if you go to the PanaCon page, pronarrators.org, and under programs, you'll see PanaCon. There's a little bit about the meetups and how to get to the meetup sign up page. But we're doing kind of big ones in New York and LA. The New York one's being sponsored by ACX even. And that's being held at a speakeasy. And then the one here in LA is going to be at Roundabout Studios. But also, we've got meetups going on in Boston and London. And I'm getting teary because I'm so happy that people like jumped on board and organized a lot. Seattle, Ohio, Denver, just so many. Look at the list. We're going to have Costa Rica, British Columbia, and those are all free, and they are open to everybody, not even just PANA members. So, spread the word that those are going on. And we really do want all narrators to just come to those, because it's a chance for that community.
And
And
and that's the 21st of July, isn't it? Tuesday, the
yeah,
21st of July. Just saying that out
Tuesday the
loud.
21st. Yeah. So that's the Tuesday. Monday, we have a surprise for all our registrants. We send out a little digital swag bag, so they get some goodies. And then Wednesday is another chance for community. We do a PANA showcase, and that features 50 narrators, each sharing very short samples, reading live, streaming to YouTube. And last year, it was a hit. Like everybody loved it. And one of the things that was wonderful is that we had a chat going on in the Zoom where we were creating the live stream. And then there was another chat going on YouTube. And the one on Zoom was just for the people who are going to be reading. And it was all like, oh, I'm so nervous. And everybody was like, no, you're going to do great. And after somebody read, everybody was so supportive with like compliments. And the same thing was happening on YouTube. And it was a beautiful thing. It just turned into everybody really, you know, cheering everybody else on. And that live stream is still up there on the PanaCon YouTube channel. And so if you want to check it out and see it, it's still up there. And we're going to do it again this year. So with your ticket comes a chance to participate in that. Then the Thursday night, we have a panorama with a producer
Sorry to
featuring.
interrupt you, Christine. Are all
Sure.
these by sort of names picked out of a hat?
It's kind of a first come, first serve thing. Um, Corinne Paul is the one that manages the showcase. And so after the July 15th deadline to buy your ticket to participate in these, she'll contact everyone and then start signing you up for time slots. So last year we had, it turned out to be about the perfect amount of people wanted to participate. So we didn't really have to turn anybody away. But I think it's going to be a first come, first serve kind of thing for
Lovely,
time slots.
lovely.
And Thursday we do panorama with a producer, which also is open to registrants that are PANA members. And that's with our keynote speaker, Hillary Huber, and one of our casting people from Podium. And it's Lyse Erickson from Podium. And 3 narrators will be chosen by lottery to read and get coached. So that's also, if you, for PANA members who buy their tickets, you are eligible to participate in that. And then Friday for all registrants is our virtual social. Last year we had the social after the conference on Saturday, and it was a really long day. And so this year we decided to uncouple the social and do it the night before. And we have legendary narrator Dion Graham, who is going to join us and run his own breakout room. So you can ask him all the questions you've ever wanted to ask him, or just meet him and talk to him. So that's going to be a special feature. And then there'll be a few themed rooms and then just general conversation rooms too. And then on Saturday is the big day.
Fantastic.
The
Sorry,
con-
just in the chat, people are commenting all sorts of things. Jerry
okay.
says he loves that it's virtual, but it does make the open bar thing problematic. So, Jerry, do reach out if you need help. But, although
Well,
Steve says,
I'll say that the drinks are definitely cheaper because you can just buy them at home.
absolutely, absolutely. Steve says you can grab your beverage of choice and hang out in an online chat room. Meg and Marcus are both excited that Chicago is having on the Tuesday, the 21st of July, the International Narrator Meetup Day. Obviously, there's one going on in Chicago, I guess, so they're very excited
Yes,
about that. Jen says she knows that the San Francisco Bay Area narrators are working on something too, though they
yes,
haven't yet announced it, so that's lovely. And Barbara's already putting her name down for the live reads. So I think yes, it's just very very exciting, and I think hopefully people are just keen to kind of. I'm hoping now that you might just go through the program with us and talk us through it, because it's lovely. Keep going,
sure.
Christine.
Okay, so we're going to start out with our keynote address, and it starts at noon Eastern, and you can translate that into your times. But so we're starting out with a keynote by legendary Golden Boys Hillary Huber, and she is such a straight talker, and I can't wait to hear what inspirational thing she's going to share with us. So she's so excited to do this. And I have not seen the speech yet, so I can't really speak to what she's talking about. But knowing Hillary, she's never at a loss for words. So, and last year we had Robin Miles deliver the keynote, and it was so beautiful. And so I expect something spectacular from Hillary. And then we begin with our first main. So there's a couple of panels that are the only thing going on, but then we do breakouts where there's 2 simultaneous sessions. So one of our first main session panels is about creating authenticity with your social media brand. And we have panelists Laura Horowitz, Kelsey Navarro Foster, and Celia Siegel speaking on that, moderated by Amanda Stribling. So they're going to go through the basics of, you know, how to be authentic today and what that means on social media and, the basics of where you need your presence and all your social media questions. Then we're going into 2 breakout sessions. And the breakout sessions are sponsored by Backstage. We're really excited to have them on board. And so Kelsey is going to do a webinar on the social media basics for narrators who'd rather be in the booth. So, what are the basics of where you need to be and what you need to be doing on social media, just minimally, and what that really means to have a presence. And then the second breakout is Andrea M's, and she's doing a breakout on giving your website casting appeal. So looking at your personal website, what do you need to have on there? How can you translate your brand? And what are casting people really looking for when they go to your website? Do you have too much on your website and it's confusing, or do you not have it well organized? So Andrea's going to go through all of that.
I must also comment that Andrea is actually a very talented website designer. I know she does a lot of work for a lot of narrators and others. So I'm actually personally looking forward to that one. It'll be lovely to
Yeah.
hear what she has to say. Fantastic.
And we've asked all our speakers to give actionable items that you can walk away with, saying, I can do these 3 things today to start on the journey to improve my branding or website or whatever the webinars are. So we're really hoping that you'll leave with, information, not just information, but like ways that, simple ways, things that you can do to take action right away.
It's lovely to
Um,
have practical takeaways because it does make you feel like you've actually had a return on investment, for want of a better word, from the event. To be able to then go and actually put that into practice is a fantastic thing. So thank you for focusing in on that too.
You're welcome. So the next set of breakout sessions, we have Dominique Franceschi coming in to talk about branding your pseudonym. Now, I do some romance and I have a pseudonym, Tina, and it is challenging to market to people at once, and to keep all of that going. And how do you brand yourself too if you want to stay anonymous? Like, how do you put yourselves out there, and what are the opportunities um, to brand your pseudonym? So we're kind of looking at that as well, because I know I found that challenging to do it all, with branding Christine and branding Tina at the same time. It's a lot. And also that the other breakout, that session is a deep dive into making your brand work for you with Celia Siegel. And her focus is branding. She's all about branding. And I've heard amazing things about her information and content. So I'm excited for that one as well. Then we're going to take a break and come back with our other main panel, which will be thriving in a shifting industry. And there's going to be a slight focus on seasoned narrators, but I think all of us can take stuff away from that particular topic. And our main session panels are sponsored by Whole Story Studios. And this panel features Lisa Kahn, Amy Rubinate, Tevia Gilbert, and it'll be moderated by Andre Santana. And it's about how publishing is changing. And I know, even since I started a shorter time ago than some of the more seasoned narrators, things are so dynamic in our industry and are constantly changing. And how do you deal with that and thrive? How do you navigate an industry that changes so often? So we're going to be dealing with that topic as well, with some people who, are very experienced and have, know how to navigate it.
That will be a really interesting session just because, as you say, there is always so much going on and such people really at the top of their game, who have things to say and have seen all the changes. So that's fantastic too.
The narrators who've been doing this, say 10 plus years, the industry that they operate in is very different than a newer narrator who deals a lot with independent authors and, auditioning on ACX. And, there's very different worlds going on even within our industry. So this one kind of focuses more on the longer term changes that have happened and how to navigate those. So our next set of breakouts, uh, we dealt a lot with fiction last year. So this year we're doing a breakout on nonfiction. But what does nonfiction mean? Like everybody's like, oh, I narrate fiction or I narrate nonfiction. But nonfiction itself is an enormous category. There are so many different styles of nonfiction and so many different approaches that need to be taken depending on the kind of nonfiction you're narrating. When you deal with a memoir that is in a very conversational tone, it's extremely different than narrating, say, a heavy technical science book. You know, I did one at one point, a book on menopause, and the tone was very much like, "Hey, girl, let me tell you about menopause," instead of being, "This is a book about menopause." You know, it was so the different, you know, approaches in nonfiction should be considered. It's not all one big thing. So we're gonna focus on the different kinds of nonfiction and the different approaches that you need to take with all of the different subgenres. Simultaneously, in that breakout, there'll be another one that is about the business of audiobooks, but the business from a narrator's point of view. So we have Ruthie Bowles, Daniel Henning, and Paige Reisenfeld, moderated by Jennifer Pickens, a panel. They're going to talk about ways that they personally took the business in their own hands and made it work for them as narrator producers. So Ruthie buys the rights to books that she wants to narrate and distribute. And I personally am fascinated by that. There's a book out there I would love to narrate. Nobody's done it yet. Like, how do I contact the publisher and get that done? So Ruthie is going to have some great information for us. Daniel Henning just launched his own publishing company and is publishing some books on his own, and I think that that's fascinating. And Paige has launched her own LLC to manage her royalty sharing agreements with her narration partner. So she's kind of established this whole business to distribute royalties. Because within ACX and some other platforms, it's hard for people to, for two narrators to share the royalties on a royalty share. So she'll tell us how she developed her own LLC and is managing royalties that way. So that'll be that next breakout session. And then in our final breakouts, we are doing a little focus on the craft by having two coaching sessions. One is fiction and one is nonfiction. The fiction workout will be with Paul Allen Rubin, you know, huge name in narration coaching. And so two lottery selected narrators will get a chance to do some fiction samples with him. And then two lottery selected narrators will have a chance to do some nonfiction with Ron Butler, who is also a legendary narrator coach. And to end it all up, the chairs of our board, Andre Santana and Adreem Smith, are going to just give you a little bit of, you know, the state of PANA, and then we will say good night. So that is the full program.
Fantastic. No, that's absolutely wonderful. Thank you so much for talking us through it. We're only halfway through the hour, but if anybody has any questions for Christine specific to the conference or about PANA in general, if you're doubting whether or not you should be a member, do come up and join us because you should be, and we can tell you why. If you've got any questions specific to the conference, please do ask away. The link is at the top of the page. If you'd like to take a look at the schedule that she talked about, you can press on that link and then press on programs and then go to PanaCon 2026. And the list we've just talked through is there. I have one specific question, which is as somebody who's in the UK, I'm going to be watching, I'm assuming these times are all Eastern, so they're 5 hours later for me.
Correct.
Is
Yes.
that
Now,
right?
all of the sessions will be recorded
That was
as
my
well.
question.
So,
Lovely.
yeah.
Lovely. Tell us about
So
that.
for registrants, at some point, you know, hopefully in a few days following the conference, we are going to post all of the video for registrants to be able to stream for 30 days. So you have a whole month to catch up on any of the sessions you missed, because we'll have the simultaneous sessions going on at points. So you won't be able to attend both. So everybody's going to want to stream the ones that they missed. So you'll have 30 days to do that.
Fantastic. Well, that's the only question I had, Christine. So I'm going to invite anybody from the audience to come up and chat with us and tell us things or ask us things, I should say. You've had lots of hearts and thumbs up and fire emojis in the chat. I think people are very excited. And I think, unfortunately, you're probably preaching to the choir here. I imagine that everybody
I
here
know.
is
It's
already
busy.
going. So what I'm hoping is that they'll share this replay on their social media and tell people they can come in and listen to Christine talk us through the sessions and what they're about and why you would want to be there, because I think it really is far too valuable not to be honest. It's an opportunity to, as far as I'm concerned, to see a lot of very well respected and professional narrators talk about their craft and about their thoughts on particular topics. It's very well sponsored. And if last year was anything to go by, very well organised. So,
Oh,
talk to us a
thank
minute
you.
about the practicalities of that, Christine. Is that something that's going to change at all this year? Have you put into effect anything that last year you wished you'd done and you're able to do this year? I apologise for the openness of the question, but I'm just curious now.
No, I think the meetups are something that we have in PANA aspired to for a long time. We had two in-person socials last year involved with the conference, one in New York and one in LA. It was a ticketed event, and they went well, but we felt like we needed to make the socials free, and we really wanted it more accessible than just New York and LA, which are always the two places that things happen. And because most of our members do live in those cities, but not all. And there are, pockets of narrators all over the world. So personally, I'm really thrilled with being able to offer more chances for narrators to get together in person. There is one other aspect of the PanaCon experience I forgot to talk about. There's one more program that's available to registrants, which is the sample review program. So you'll have a chance to submit a short sample of your narration, and it will be sent along to a working casting person at a company who will give you a written review of that sample and tell you, give you some advice if they think you need to, make changes, or just tell you you're on the right track sometimes. But it gives you a chance to get a connection with a working casting person. The goal is not as a casting opportunity, but as a networking opportunity and as a chance for some feedback. So that also comes with your PanaCon ticket if you're a PANA member. And the tickets to PanaCon are $150 because I didn't mention the price.
Yes, wonderful. And in fairness, all that information is on the website, and a very extensive and exhaustive filling out form list, which I haven't done yet because of that. You ask for information about sort of your social media handles, what you're prepared to share, what you're not prepared to share, etc. Pretty typical of as a PANA member, PANA's very good at kind of recognizing that some people want all their information out there and some people are very private and would rather keep it to themselves. So the opportunity to be able to do that is wonderful.
One of the things that we're sharing this year, we're going to share the attendee list, which we did not do last year. So one of the questions we do ask on the form is, do you want your information on that sheet or not? Most people wanted a chance or wanted an opportunity to follow up with other narrators who were there. So that's one thing that we've added, and I know that's something that APAC does as well. So that's an addition this year. But another reason we're asking about your social media and your branding is that some of our guests giving webinars are going to look at some of the registrants' materials and use those as examples. So, there's a question on there of like, what are your handles? And we also want to get a feel for if everybody's on a platform already or if there's not any knowledge about certain platforms at all. So we want to kind of get more specific with the information that we're offering on the social media and branding, and also use some of you as the examples of who's doing it right.
Wonderful. Just a couple of comments from the chat. Meg says, I love that you're organizing in-person gatherings throughout the States and around the world. Everybody just loves it. Angela says, Christine, didn't you know that Albuquerque is a major hub? Lots of laughter there. Jerry
I
says that
do, but someone from Albuquerque has to organize the meetup. So the meetups are super easy to organize. Okay, let me just,
that is on the website. I
yes.
don't know. I can't find it now, but I've seen, is that on the page of the PanaCon?
If you,
Oh, if
yeah,
you
if you go to
press,
the
sorry.
If you go to the list of all the meetups, up at the top, it says, if you don't see your city and want to organize one, click this link. So basically, if you click the link, I'll get back to you and I'll help you through the process.
Lovely.
But really, most cities are not going to have an enormous crowd of people show up. So we're talking maybe like 10 to 12 people, in most places would be the goal, maybe 15. So that's like meeting up at a bar someplace or a coffee shop, or if somebody wants to host it at their house, or there's one being held at a community room at a library. Someone else is having it in the community room at their condo complex. So there's all different kinds of ways. You just need to find the space and set the time, and I'll make one of those sign up sheets for you and put your meetup on the list, the big list. And we're promoting all of them as a whole. Or you can just send the link to, your friends in town that you want to show up and be like, sign up for it. And if you get your meetup registered by a certain date, I forget what it is right now. I think it might be
It's the 15th. I found the link now.
okay,
It's
the
the 15th
15th.
of June. Yeah.
Then I'll send you some swag to give out, which we have produced. And they're these cute little coasters that say Narrators Hydration Station. And we'll keep track of the RSVPs, and I'll make you an admin on the form so you can see as a moderator or as an organizer who's signed up already. And you will have access to their emails so that if you want to send an info email or something prior to the event, you can do that with parking information or whatever else they need to know. But as an admin or an organizer for that event, you'll have access to the sign up list.
I
Um,
must just comment that the RSVPs work with the email address you're signed into PANA or into your Google link. So I've had to actually request access because my PANA email address and my Google email address aren't the same. And so there may be a couple of steps, is all I'm really saying, but it'll be worth it. And you should go along and meet up. I love the fact that it says at the top, a meetup is wherever two or more narrators are gathered. So I love the idea of however many or few we are. It's a gathering
exactly.
and it's worth it.
If you know you're in an area where there aren't a lot of narrators, and but you have a good friend who is, and you guys just want to meet for coffee, that's a meetup. I'll put you on the list.
Fantastic.
And we may even do some little some kind of like, I don't know, social media contest from the meetups or something like that. I don't know. We haven't talked about that yet, but we may have some more fun to be had with them as well.
Wonderful. So you've got,
But I think it's a great, this is one of my favorite things, is
yeah.
to get together with narrators in person.
It's also lovely to have an excuse to do so. The fact that you've actually set a date, by the 15th of June, you've got 2 weeks, people, to see if your city is on the list. And if not, whether you would like to organize one with some people near you and get yourself on the list and then make it a thing. I think it's very, very exciting and a good reason to. And it'll make the 21st of July a wonderful day of kind of narrator interaction, which is fantastic. So thank you very much for that.
You're welcome. I'm excited for that particularly.
So that's lovely. I must just say that Sarah Kay has very kindly joined us up here on the sofa. Hopefully, she has a question for us or a comment to make. Sarah Kay, how are you?
I have, but as I'm sorry, I'm in the kind of dead zone. I'm driving to work. This is my last Wednesday for the summer driving this drive. Thank God. I was actually going to ask you to talk more about the meetups because yeah, I was late and I felt like I missed that part, but you did, so I feel good. That was my question. It's the same where what the meetups are like, what we're doing, and all the things, but you did it. So
I'm also pretty
I don't
sure
know
that
what else to
Los
talk about.
Angeles is. I imagine that Los Angeles is covered, although it's not actually
Yeah.
on the list. Oh, it is. It's the very first one. It's under California, so it's at
Yep.
217 South Lake Street, Burbank. Sarah,
Yep.
so you're there.
I'm there. I was there last year too, and it was so much fun. I had such a great time, so I'm looking forward to it again. And I want to say I'm really excited about this conference. I had such a good time last year, and I think like all of the little extra things that go along with it, like the sample review, the showcase was so much fun last year. It's just it was such a wonderful conference last year, and I'm really looking forward to it again this year.
Thank you so much. I'm glad you enjoyed it. One of the things that meant so much to me was that narrators found relevancy in this conference too. Because so many times there's other programming out there, but it never always seems to have good relevance for, our needs as narrators. So PANA as an organization is all about narrators for narrators. So it means a lot to me personally and to the organization that narrators are finding value in the programming that we're creating. So thank you for that.
Wonderful. Well, I don't know if anybody else in the audience has any other thoughts or. Oh, here we go. Meg says, "What time will the week events happen?"
So the Tuesday meetups, they're all at different times. You have to check your city. A lot of them are in the evening, but there is one that's at like noon. So check your local listings. The I have to look up myself. Hold on one second. The times on the showcases and all that. Hey, Corrine, what time is the showcase? I know she's there on the Wednesday. It's in the evening sometime for East Coast. The PanaRama as well as evening, and then the socials evening. And you've just shown me I need to add these times onto the website. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome. People are always, there's always some question to be asked, isn't there? You go, oh yeah, we
Yep.
should write that down.
And that's Eastern, so convert appropriately. And one of the things we started the conference an hour later this year to be kinder to our West Coast folks. So uh, we did take that into consideration.
Fantastic. Well,
Sorry, Anna.
people all the time, can you? So I'm learning that very severely this week. But no,
I know.
it's a fantastic offering, Christine, and I commend you on the breadth of it and the focus of it, actually, because it is very current, which is what I love about PANA. At the same time as kind of constantly asking questions and seeking information, it's very reactive entity in as much as it does seem to represent what people are currently talking about and asking questions about. So I'm hoping that people really will listen in and realize that what everybody said in the chat, that the price is outstanding for an entire day, plus all the PanaCon week stuff that's going on. It's a wonderful price for what you're getting, and so much information to be had with regards to all the panels and so on that will be available to discuss these topics that everybody is talking about. So congratulations in advance, and I'm really looking forward to it. Does anybody in the audience have any last questions for Christine before we let her go? And or Christine, is there anything else you'd like to share that I've forgotten to ask about?
Not really, but if anyone's interested, there's also, if someone isn't a PANA member and you're interested in joining, on that page as well is a promo code to take $15 off the annual membership fee for new members. And it's $125 a year. So you can take 15 off that. And if anyone's interested in joining.
Do you know what I'm going to ask you to do? And I apologize for throwing this at you, but can you give us an overview of all the incredible programs available to people as members, what they can take part in, and what's always available on the website for them to take a look at?
I hope I can cover it all because it's an enormous amount and we keep adding member benefits all the time. So PANA members at PanaCon get access to all those extra programs. Non-PAN members do not get to do the showcase or the sample review and things like that. So it is worth it to be a member if you're going to PanaCon. Other things that PANA does, we have an awards, which is the Narrator of Distinction Awards. And I think submissions may have just closed on that. But if they haven't, I think you may still be able to get something in. But it's
They are
narrators
they are closed.
there. Okay. It's narrators judging other narrators and presenting awards. So it's kind of like the actor awards where it's awarded by other actors. So we're the narrator of distinction awards, and it is awarded by other narrators. We have Pan Academy, which is an ongoing collection of classes. We do 3 semesters of fall, winter, and spring, and there's a whole bunch of classes and webinars for each of those. We are just beginning to get our PANA Ambassador program going on, which is going to try to connect us with the indie author community more, and provide opportunities for education there and connection. We do PanaRama with a producer, which is one of the PanaCon offerings, but we do that during the year as well. Hillary Huber is kind enough to offer that opportunity to read for working producers. We offer a DEI narrator database that a casting person can apply for access if they're looking for a specific type of narrator for their book. Even independent authors can apply for access if they have a DEI need for their narration. So that's a really big thing that we've gotten going. Let me see. What else do we do? We do a lot of advocacy too, and you don't always hear about that actively, but we coordinate with NAVA and other organizations. And a couple of years ago, Erin DeWard, who was the head of our board at that time, spoke before Congress on our behalf. So we forward actions to be taken politically to advance narrator concerns. So there is a whole advocacy part of it. Yeah, there's other things that happen during the year too that are kind of one-off events. Sometimes we have big symposiums on AI and other topics that are of interest.
Can I
Any? Oh,
can I
Sarah,
jump in
do
a little
do.
bit on also I'm on the DEI committee, and one of the things that we're working on, well, there's a couple things. There's something coming out in June of audiobook month based on representing who you are as a narrator. It's a big full picture, Operation Pigeon Freedom. Stay tuned for more. It's coming. And then, but there's also, speaking of NAVA, there is a gathering of statistics that we've done that cover a wide breadth of information about the industry, and looking at it. Andre's going to host it. They're better at explaining it, but it's a very interesting, very deep dive look at what actually is happening within the industry and where people are, and this beautiful look at statistics that there were many things that I had no clue about, and it was very enlightening to see. So this is something else that PANA is doing, is really looking critically at what's going on and like how figure out how to frame that to help narrators advance their career in a very informed way. And that's going to be coming up, and I think that's going to be a members only thing, probably in the fall,
Hmm.
definitely after PanaCon. But I wanted to say also, like, you brought up Nava, and Nava was a partner in that. So sorry, I can't have
Absolutely.
more specifics, but
Yeah,
it's
One of
really cool stuff that's
Yeah.
happening.
One of the things that's really important is to get the data, the numbers, like politicians and business people, they pay attention to data and numbers. And so one of the things that we're trying to do, with other organizations as well, is kind of quantify the things that, need to be assessed. So that is definitely something that PANA does behind the scenes. It's not necessarily the most sexy thing to put out that, but we are trying to drill down on the statistics and the data to support our points of view.
Fantastic. Well, thank you for that work. I must also comment that there is a new member social. For me, it's about community. It's almost like the feeling of just being with other narrators within the industry and having a space that you can turn to find out information and ask questions. There is a new member social on the 10th of June, and there's a virtual PANA social on the 17th of June. So there's, as you mentioned, Christine, ongoing things that are always happening that are worth jumping in on and being able to take advantage of. It's fantastic. So thank you.
Yes, the socials are really fun too. So pop into those if you have a chance.
Wonderful. Well,
And you don't necessarily have to be a brand new member to go to the new member social either.
well, thank you. Thank you very much for joining us here today. Thank you for being so good at kind of just talking us through the PanaCon, the conference itself. I don't know, again, if anybody in the audience has any questions that they'd like to ask in the last minute, but the conference is on the 25th of July. But as you've heard, there's all sorts going on the Monday through Friday of that week, PanaCon Virtual Conference Week. It sounds very exciting. It sounds too good to be true. It sounds like a lovely thing to be able to do. And I think if people have that week available to be able to commit the time to, do sign up, pay your money, go along. And if you can't, you can still listen to the recordings for the next 30 days after it. So it's got to be worthwhile. And by the way, Steve says he's going to be narrating live here in the Audiobooks house at the top of the hour. So do feel free to come in and listen. That was a little aside there from Steve in the chat. Christine, thank you very much again for joining us.
You're welcome.
Um, and thank you
Thanks for
again, as I
having me.
said, for explaining it all and talking us through it. Today, we talked to Christine Mascott on the board of directors of the Professional Audiobook Narrators Association. who joined us here today to talk about the Professional Audiobook Narrators Association conference happening on the 25th of July. My takeaways: for $150, there are too many opportunities to take advantage of, and everybody should. Thank you very much for joining us here today. Thank you for listening to the replay. Thank you for the questions and the participation in the chat. Thank you for joining us live, and thank you for joining us in the replay. Thank you very much for listening. Do make sure to have a wonderful week, everybody, and let's go out and be our favorite selves.